Hello everyone, welcome to the 7th International Uşak Short Film Festival. I'm Seren and I'm a member of the festival and also pre-jury last year. I am absolutely stoked to welcome Alexandre Dostie and to talk about his film I'll End Up in Jail, one of my top favorite films. So, how are you, Alexander?
I'm great. And you, how are you, Serene?
I am doing great. I am really excited to have you here because I'm such a fangirl. I'm just trying to keep calm here right now.
I hope all Turkish audience will be just as fan as you are.
They will probably be. I'm sure about that because
Yes.
I also checked your other films and they are absolutely amazing. And I saw that
Thanks.
you work with the same DOP,
Yeah.
Vincent Biron. And you two make a great team, and I'll get to my questions about him later.
Sure.
For our viewers, a very quick synopsis of the film so they know what we're talking about. I'll End Up in Jail is about a stay-at-home mom. And oh my god. Yes, Maureen. Maureen's escape comes to an abrupt end when she drives her monster truck into a deadly car accident. Stuck in the middle of nowhere, she must share the company and the blame of a rather touching junkie dubbed Jelly the Loon. Amazing characters. So I want to start with the biggest question I have in mind. This film was supposed to be shot in fall, but it got late. And it was shot in a very harsh winter. I can only imagine the kind of challenges you had to face, but I cannot imagine the rest. Would you like to tell us some of the crazy stories and the biggest challenges you had to face?
Yeah, sure. Well, first, let me thank you for having me at your festival. It's an honor to be part of the Winged Seahorse Film Festival in Turkey and to be shown to your Turkish audience. I'm very, very happy about that. So yeah, actually we still shot the film during the fall season. It was shot in early November, but we thought there wouldn't be snow. But 3 days before we start shooting, 3 feet of snow fell on the ground, and on the first morning of shooting, it was minus 26 degrees. And the weather was crazy all week long. We had to fight very wintry condition for 7 days. And after that's we shot in a region called La Beauce in Quebec, and that's where I'm from. So we shot 10 minutes from the places I grew up. And after the shooting, I talked to people from my former little hometown, and they were telling me that it was the harshest and winteriest month of November in the past 35 years. So it was quite a challenge, and it really changed the look of the film, but I think it's
Definitely.
For the better.
I feel the same. I mean, the snow brings so much isolated layer into it, which goes along very well with the script itself. I cannot imagine having this film shot in fall colors, actually. The snow makes Maureen herself more isolated, in my opinion, because that's what she wants to be. She doesn't want to go either of the jails, not at home, not a physical real jail because of a murder. So she just goes her own way, and that's why I'm Team Maureen. And
yes.
The ending.
But you're right. You have to, and the snow is such a good canvas. It's like it's a white sheet, a white paper sheet where history have to be written. This new history for the character, and this idea of when she at some point when she kills Jelly. I hope I'm not selling the punch to your audience. I hope the audience will have seen the film. But if you don't, go watch the film anyway. And she have to run. She have to beat her own path in this thick layer of snow. So there's a whole metaphorical. I think it takes the film to a whole new metaphorical level. And you're right. I mean, the fall season in Quebec is super busy with color. And I think that this very, very kind of severe color palette, of white and gray and black I think is much more appropriate for that kind of backdrop for that tragic film.
Definitely. It's tragic, but also there's some dry humor in it, which I love. I mean, Billy is such a character. I read that there was a change of actors, but I mean, his eyes, his mimics, everything just fits so perfectly. I love his character very, very much. And I also think that Maureen is a character that so many people can relate to, especially in this COVID time. People got more stuck in house, and some of them got unemployed, and being dependent on a person financially or just physically, it really makes people even more restricted mentally and physically. That's why her escape, maybe that's why I was so inspired by her escape, that I felt relieved when I was watching her. I want to know, how did you develop this idea of Maureen and the monster truck?
Yeah, well, you're right. I never made that link that you're making between like Maureen's escape and COVID time. But you're right. I myself am stuck at home, and I wish I could just steal a pickup truck and run away. So yeah, you're right. It kind of resonates in a weird and cathartic ways these days, and maybe that's why the film is doing so great around the world. I don't know. But yeah, the idea from there, it was, I never know, like people ask me where the idea come from, and I have 36 different answers, because my sources of inspiration are so multiple. When I start working on an idea, I get impregnated with so many sources that at some point I lose myself and it becomes the film, But one of these sources of inspiration was my mother. When I was a kid, I grew up in this very rural region where we shot the film. And my mother was, she was still young, and she used to travel a lot, just a couple of years before having me. And then all of a sudden she was stuck in this little place in the middle of nowhere. And I remember that when I was young, I could feel at some time this longing from my mother to get away, and and there was the character of Maureen. That was the fuel I needed to engage the audience and engage myself as a writer to tell that story. And it ties up to other weird story, like the aunt of one of my friends. Actually, that's the first time I thought of the film. The aunt of one of my friends, she's a very small woman, and she was asked by her husband to get that huge truck, to a garage somewhere for a checkup or something. And she didn't knew that the truck was an American pickup truck, and that the speedometer was in miles per hour instead of kilometers per hour. And she thought it was in kilometers, so she drive like 90 miles per hour
like double
to go to the
speed,
garage. Huh? What?
Is it double the speed, I think?
Yes, it's something like double the speed. So that little woman that was just impressed by the size of the truck, she drove like at almost 200k an hour. And she didn't knew it then, but when she got to the garage, people were like, how long did it take for you to come? And she was like, I don't know, what time is it? And it took like 15 minutes instead of half an hour, So I love this image of the small woman with this huge pickup truck, not knowing she was driving twice that speed, but kind of feeling it, And she, while I was imagining her, and while she was driving, she can't explain why she feel empowered like that and thrilled like that, And I thought this to be very cathartic and poetic, but I couldn't relate to that character. And that's why when I thought about my mother, I made like this equation, and then the film really got into the track, you know.
Yeah, you pick all these puzzle pieces all around, everything, your friends, your own life, and then you put it all together in this sense. Maybe you didn't imagine they come out like this, but I think everything makes each one of them perfect.
Thank you so much. It's rare that I have the occasion to talk about my creative process, but that's really what it is. Like you said, it's like making a puzzle. And you know, right now I'm working on a feature film and some other project, and I have these small pieces of puzzle, and I'm like, this is nice, and I see just a little bit of the image. I don't know what's the big picture, but I'm like, wow, that's a nice piece, you know. But it's working that way. It's so hard. Like sometimes I deal with pieces that are from another puzzle, you know, that I might never do or do in 20 years, and it's a very hard process. But it's a very intuitive and, for me, deep path in my psyche, you know. So maybe that's what you feel when you watch a film.
But I also think that you're lucky to be surrounded by very great people on your team, that you keep working back with them, like the actors, like your DOP and all the other cast and the crew, I mean. So I want to talk about Vincent Buron too, because with Mutants and with I'll End Up in Jail, you have a great visual language. Very established, very, very well taught, and I'm sure there are so many other people involved creating these universes. But I want to know if you plan to keep working together, like this feature film you told me about. Do you think other things in advance?
Listen, I'm a very loyal guy, and you know, I haven't been to film school, so making Mutants and making I'll End Up in Jail was my school, you know. And I was fortunate enough, like before going into filmmaking, I've been distributing short film for the past 10 years. That's where I kind of got into that little world, you know. Yeah. And that's where I met Vincent, who is a very talented filmmaker as well. And you know, when was the time for me to make my own film? I had the choice of all these awesome, talented creators, you know, that I could ask to work on my movie. And I was lucky enough to have all these people say yes to me. So I learned from them, you know, and I learned a craft, and I also learned how to lead very strong-headed and powerful people, you know, which is something. And I don't know what will happen for the future. I love to work with Vincent, but you know, building the team is like writing the story. I answer to an higher voice, you know, and it's the voice of the film. And
wow,
that's how I feel it.
Great network because of this distribution thing going on. I think you got to meet with amazing people, and they just got you on because you're such a magnet, creative magnet. I think I found this online too, that you're also a published poet, a blues punk singer, and a filmmaker. I love that a lot. So it means that you have hands all over.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's for me, it's like the experience of life is just like the best material you can get for your stories, you know. And I tried to make the most out of my time here, and these were all dreams, you know. When I think making film was the wildest dream. So before making film, yeah, I discovered poetry, and I realized, oh, maybe I can write some and read some. And first thing I knew, I was publishing, you know, and I have a new books of poetry coming out next spring that will be published again.
Wow.
Super excited about it. And being in a punk band, like I was raised on punk music and stuff like that. So, and it appeared late. Like I started singing in a punk band, I was like, I don't know, 23 years old, 24, you know? So it's crazy. It's like dreams I had when I was a kid, but I happened to realize when I'm more of an adult, you know? And I don't know. I've been following this kind of gut feeling, and it brought me here to talk to you. So that's great. I'm very grateful for that.
I'm very grateful to you too. So you got into music at 23, you got into film recently, and then whatever you touch, you make it golden. So it's so nice to meet you, and I cannot wait to see you more, whatever you produce, because apparently everything is always so interesting to look at. Thank you so much. Is there anything you would like to add?
Well, thanks to you, Serene. I'll make sure to send you my future pieces of work. I'm working on some very exciting stuff right now. And like I said, I'm trying to find my way in there, but I'm backed by very comprehensive producer and collaborator. So I'm blessed for that. And yeah, I'm not done yet. I'll be back, that's for sure. And I wish I can visit you guys and meet your audience with the next film. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, and hope to see you in Turkey one day.
Yes, sure.
Okay, see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.